I'm sure there is an army, thousands of liberal, politically correct parents out there who would never put a pork pie in a lunchbox and who pride themselves on reprimanding their children in hushed tones against a harp concerto in the background. That's worked for me about twice in 18 years of parenting. My point being, there are very many different types of discipline. Smacking does work on occasion. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't.
Would you remember using a smack to discipline
younger children as a shock tactic? If I feel that they're imminently in danger, sometimes it's just a way of demonstrating something that words just can't at that moment in time. It doesn't always work. I'm not saying I haven't always smacked. It's not always the most effective form of punishment, but sometimes it does work in ways that words can't because they've crossed a boundary. I've slapped my teenage daughter. She called me a to my face. What was I supposed to do? Say, darling, go and sit on the naughty step. That's not a very nice thing to call mummy. No, that showed her in no uncertain terms.
Then somebody would say, well, you could have said, right, you're grounded for a week, or you take your phone away.
It doesn't work in the same way.
But I think the main thing is that what you may think is a restrained smack, others wouldn't have that control. A smack can lead to other things.
A lot of parents who smack say, I do it, but I only do it gently. It doesn't really hurt them. So why do it if it doesn't hurt them? And where would you stop? Would you prod them with a cattle probe? Would you pull their hair? I mean, if you're hurting them to teach them something, then why just stop at slapping? It's wrong. It is wrong. It's bullying. It's violence of a kind that is special because it comes from a mother.
It's discipline within the loving context of a relationship. And in fact, there was a survey about that in America that showed that the effects, any negative effects of smacking, are offset against the sort of physical maternal love that comes after it.
Oh, that's a load of rubbish.
No,
I just think that when you hit what about a little child who can't speak back to you, who can't express themselves?
But Anna, it's no more violence than putting a child in a bedroom is imprisoning them. What's the difference?
It is violence. I mean, let's face it, we talked about corporal punishment. We talked about we all went to school. We got rulers, we got straps, we got canes.
Yeah, we're all very well-balanced adults.
Yes,
well,
but wait a minute.
The other argument,
my point
it didn't do me any harm.
if it happened to any of our children now, I would use violence. I would go down and use violence to whoever perpetrated
or
that against
my caning
my child. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I was
so we
slapped
wouldn't.
in the face
what justification
when I was 6 years
would you?
old.
Yeah, what
justification?
But that person is not doing it from a loving that is a punishment. That's a different thing. I'm talking about if your children know that they're loved, and there are other things that are far more damaging to a child than smacking them.
It's shortcut.
Actually,
it's a shortcut, lazy way of parenting.
Having marital disharmony, arguing in front of a child, is more damaging to a child than giving them the occasional smack for discipline.
Can I ask you, and I will be honest, I have smacked Jack on a few when but I will admit to have smacked Jack. And every time it's because I'd lost control.
Exactly.
Yes.
So when you look back, when you slapped your daughter's face, do you think afterwards, I shouldn't have done that, I'd actually lost control? No. So for me with Jack, it's, I was tired or a bit overwrought.
Yes.
It was actually, and I've always felt bad
Ruth, I agree. There have been, parenting is a very long road, and we're all making, millions of decisions on a daily basis about difficult things constantly. And there have been times where I have smacked and I have regretted it because it hasn't been the most appropriate response at that time to the situation. Has my child been damaged long term by it? No, of course she hasn't. I actually didn't regret slapping my 14-year-old for that particular instance. It's what she needed. It humiliated her, and you know what?
I think it humiliated you more than her.
No, it didn't humiliate me at all, and I stick to my...
And what do you do if she went then and slapped a friend during a dispute, or her grandmother when they were having an argument? You're teaching them what to do.
No, you're not, any more than you are... You're not teaching them what to do.
Well, I tell you, the rule I had with my 4 children is that I didn't slap them, and they never slapped each other, and it made an awful... I mean, they may have been blood and hair going on in the bedrooms with the doors closed when I didn't see them, but it made our family life very peaceful.
How did you discipline then?
The naughty... One of my children, she knows who she is, spent most of her years on the naughty chair. So there's removing them is one way. Talking to them, depriving them of things. I'm not saying don't make them suffer. I mean, take things they really want off them. But lowering yourself, especially to hit a 14-year-old in the face,
I tell
is
you what,
appalling.
though, because sometimes, and I was scared, my father used to give me a clip round the ear if I was rude to him at the dining room table, and it kept me on my toes, because what that did was I had an element of fear. Now, my children aren't scared to me, even though I have smacked them. Then it's not... I tell you what, it's another word beginning with B. I am the boss in my family. I'm not a bully, I'm the boss.
You're not in control. If you're hitting them,
I am in control.
And the children out of control.
Shona, but you may be in control, right? But I think, whoever's made this decision and the thought process that this has gone through, there will be massive social problems in some of the families that they have looked at here. People who don't know when to stop, people whose lives may be ruled by drink or drugs, they may be out of control. So what may apply to you, and you may say, I'm totally in control, I know what to do. The danger is other people don't know when to stop smacking.
But isn't it micromanaging family life on an absolutely ridiculous level? I mean, this is nanny state gone mad, I think, because actually it's not an enforceable law.
Well, if we're not going to protect
Obviously,
children,
who's
there to protect children?
It's not, because we all know that most abuse happens behind closed doors anyway.
So what about child neglect, domestic violence? They're not enforceable because they go on behind closed doors. That's OK as well, then?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's not something that they're going to...
It's civilising the way we bring up our children, this law, and I think it's fantastic. And when we're out, I've often been out and seen parents screaming, slapping their children outside. And what can I do as an individual?
It is disturbing when you
so you turn your eye away.
I never scream at my children. I think that's a terribly
But as an individual, you can't tackle that. But this law in Scotland tackles it for us, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and if I can't hit you and you can't hit Ruth and Ruth can't hit Shona, why should any of us be allowed to strike a child?
Surprise that. And if someone who's 20 foot tall came in here now and gave us a whack, we'd feel it, wouldn't we? And that's essentially what you're doing to an under 5-year-old if you hit them.